Teams up?
I can't. Yeah, it's open. Oh shoot, this is my work computer. No, I don't. This is my work computer because. The time is now 7 o'clock. The Cicero Town Council meeting is now in session. If you could please all stand for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, please remain standing.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Father. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to be together. Father, I pray that you be with the council, help them make good decisions for the town of Cicero. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Ms. Gary, if you could please take roll.
I will. Joe Cox.
Present.
Eric Hayden.
Present.
Dennis Johnson.
Present.
Jacob Everett.
Present.
Emily Pearson. Present.
Okay, we have a quorum with all members present. Has everybody had an opportunity to look over the agenda? I do want to make one note on the agenda. I'm pretty sure everybody in here already knows. You'll notice that the BEST project is not on the agenda. At the earliest it will be discussed is at the February 3rd council meeting. So at that point, and we're not actually legally allowed to discuss it tonight, as zoning requires 48 hours advertising legally for us to discuss it, and we can't do that. I'm looking right at you. Okay, so at that time, our intent, we're in the process of developing our questions. We need to get the financials back so we understand what that looks like, and hopefully we'll have all that information by the next meeting, and our intent would be to discuss it at a council, have the opportunity to ask our questions to the petitioner. It may go to vote that night, it may not, I don't know. So we shall see. But moving along to the approval of the agenda. Any additions to the agenda?
I do, sir.
What do you have?
I have, under old business, at contract for a grant writer.
I thought that was already on there.
Contract for what?
Grant writer.
Grant writer. I also have an IT contract.
Oh, yeah.
I also have EMS rates.
Okay, so we got IT, contract, EMS rates. That's just the adoption, right?
Salary
is.
ordinance is on here.
What is it?
The salary ordinance, that's,
You guys approved a PRN rate increase. This is just the ordinance making that final.
okay. What was the first one you said? I'm sorry.
A
Grant
Grant
contract?
writer contract. It's a 6-month contract.
Yeah, grant writer, IT, EMS rates, but that's salary ordinance amendment, right? 120, 2000.
No, these are EMS, what the ambulance service charges.
Oh, I thought that was just in that salary ordinance amendment.
No, that's for the PRNs. Okay. Okay, so that's all under old business. Anybody else have anything to add? No?
No.
Okay, if not, I will, what?
I was confused.
Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second, Dennis Johnson.
Motion a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have an agenda. Moving on to the approval of the prior town council minutes dated January 6, 2026. Does anybody have any questions or revisions to those minutes? No. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved, Dennis Johnson.
Second, Emily Pearson.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good to go there. Moving on to the approval of claims dated 1/20/26. Has everybody had a chance to review the claims? Any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the claims dated 1/20/26. Don't
So
everybody
moved,
jump at
Dennis
once.
Somebody? Anybody?
Okay, we got a
So moved, Dennis Johnson.
Second, Emily
motion and a
Pearson.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, go ahead and pay the bills, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Moving along to the council committee reports. OTC report,
No report.
EDC report, there is no report there. Mr. Freeman.
Good evening, Council. Stormwater bids opening. We've got, I think, 7 bid packages out, and I'm told that there's at least one that's active.
Okay.
So as of right now, next Monday, the 26th, we will have it at 10 o'clock in the morning, and town council will open up any bids we receive.
Okay.
So we're looking for more than one. We just have to take that under advisement, but right now we've got 7 bids out.
Sounds good.
Other than that, that's about it.
Very much appreciate your work.
Oh, there is Keith are doing all the work.
They do our job. Well, I shouldn't say that. They don't do our job, but they make our job a whole lot easier as well, so thank you.
I really appreciate your enthusiasm.
Absolutely. All right, moving on, legal counsel report. Mr. Cole.
Yes, I have a couple things tonight. One, I've had an initial conversation with IPA's counsel and advised him that we will be engaging experts to look into things and advise the council, and that we were of the opinion that they should reimburse the town for those costs. They have agreed. They will do that. They have asked me to give them an estimate. I think what we're looking at is them putting money in an escrow account where we can then authorize payouts to the experts we engage. I should be in a position to have that contract to you at our February meeting, the very first one. In the meantime, we have an attorney from Barnes and Thornburg that we would like to, I sent out the engagement letter to you, as well as Baker Tilly to do some rate consulting at their standard hourly rates. And if those are both acceptable to you, you could approve those tonight.
Okay. All right.
So this, they're willing to pay up to,
We have to go back to them, but the initial number we were talking about is about $100,000 that they would pay.
And to be clear on that, we would only do that should we decide to continue the due diligence process after this initial
Correct.
2-week period when we're doing our initial stuff.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put all the pieces in place so that however in-depth the council wants to go, everything's set up for you to do that.
So tonight, you just need approval on that engagement letter, right?
Correct.
Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at the engagement letter?
so we will not get any billable hours before we get the approval from IPA Power, correct?
Different, this is different topic.
No, this is
These people know that this is going to be subject to a reimbursement agreement that we will be paying them out of.
yeah,
But to make sure I understand this engagement letter, the engagement letter is to retain counsel
Correct.
that will cover both the fiscal impact, essentially, that we're going to definitely be looking at, and should we decide to continue any conversation beyond that, it would also carry over to that topic.
It would. However, I'm going to recommend that we talk with a different attorney from a different firm for the environmental side.
Okay.
We've worked with Mr. Gardner in the past. He's been assisting the town with stuff. He's got an environmental background. And so, you know, if we decide to go that route, I would recommend we work with him. And also I've asked him to recommend environmental consultants who are familiar with this technology and can answer your questions.
Okay.
You know, my goal is for you to have people who are only on the town's payroll
Correct.
answering your questions and not experts for somebody else.
Yep.
Mr. Culp, so the petitioner is being proposed as responsible for those costs, but in terms of selecting who those providers are, legal, financial, environmental, that's our choice, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
and any cost from this Barnes and Thornburg engagement letter will be paid by,
That's the intent. Now, theoretically, if we agree on a certain dollar amount as the pool and we exceed that, we would have to go back to them and ask them to increase that. Now, my intent is to try to use the estimates to get the pool built with a little space in there so that we have enough to cover whatever's necessary.
So that reimbursement would cover any initial conversations from a fiscal impact standpoint?
well, right now it doesn't because we don't have an agreement signed.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
But the agreement I intend to put together would date back to when I would move this back maybe to January 1st or whenever.
Okay. I guess the question I'm trying to get to get an answer on is if we start analyzing the fiscal side of it with their counsel, just the fiscal side of it, we would go back to IPA for reimbursement on that.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
But
want.
there's no, they've signed nothing that says they will pay it.
That's correct.
And any agreement that we sign in this will not bind Cicero to a vote on this in the affirmative?
No, this is purely with an attorney and a financial advisor to assess the pros and cons and costs and other legalities on the financial side of this. And it doesn't even bind us to how much you have them do. If you were to decide independent of that, one way or the other, or if after you got a few hours into it, you reached a decision, we would just cease moving forward with that.
Yep.
Okay.
Good? More questions?
I would rather have that agreement in place before we bring in any outside entities.
Well, would we actually have them do any work prior?
We could decide not to have them do anything until then. Of course, that means the next 2 weeks till our next meeting, we're not going to be moving
Right.
forward.
Okay. How quickly do you think you can get that signature from IPA?
I mean, we have to put the terms that'll probably be in there will be pretty straightforward. The main thing right now is I'm waiting on estimates. I've asked people to get me estimates, but that may be a couple more days. And then I can get the agreement and the numbers to them, and as long as they sign off, but then we have to approve it too.
Right.
And we don't have a meeting scheduled till the first Tuesday of February.
Okay, I mean, then we have to have it on the agenda for the first meeting in February, right?
Right, but in the next 2 weeks, we won't be able to meet with these people.
Oh, I got what you're saying. Okay. Yeah,
We won't be able to ask them to start doing work, because I don't think we would meet with them so much as having them start going over analysis and preparing things.
thoughts?
How many hours would we, how many hours do you think Barton and Thornburg is going to need?
I have no idea. I have asked them to get me an estimate, but until I have that estimate, I can't answer that question.
Can we set a maximum or contingent approval on this, or?
Yeah, what if we set a maximum between now and,
Yeah, we could tell
Our next
them we don't
meeting.
want them to exceed X dollars
Do not
before.
exceed?
yeah,
Yeah,
So there's a little bit of risk assumed there.
I mean, you know what you're out,
Yeah.
worst case. So
Right.
what's that amount?
I guess, Aaron, knowing, do you have an educated guesstimate that you think would be a good number to set that at?
I honestly don't. I have not worked with this specific type of project from an economic side or otherwise, which is
We're
part of
all
why
at-
we're getting experts to
We're all
advise.
at, man. 8 grand, 8,000? I'm trying to think of other,
yeah.
I'm trying to think of,
It's north of 5, in my
yeah,
opinion.
I'm thinking other legal bills we've had for different things, and I feel like they usually fall between 7 and 10, with some going up to 15 on occasion.
Well, and now some of this, is the intent just to use the attorney, but not to have Baker Tilly do anything? Because
All right, the Baker
that was
Tilly.
part of this equation,
Yeah,
too.
you're right.
And I'm not trying to push this
I would
here. I'm
say-
just trying to, my impression was the council wanted to get people going on this.
Yeah, you're right.
And
we
so
do.
that's what I was trying to facilitate.
Right. I would like to be able to have our questions and everything ready to have a discussion, so we could ask IPA our questions in a public setting at the next meeting. Whatever we need to do to make that happen, but it will be difficult to do if we don't have any initial finding.
So our status with Mr. Gardner and his firm, is that's still in process? We don't have anything before us on that yet?
That's correct.
Can I ask a question?
I have no problem with it.
If, I'm just trying to understand, why does this have to be on the February agenda?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
We were just hoping to be able to have an initial discussion with IPA when they come back, because I have a feeling there's going to be more questions that come out of that.
And I've worked closely with Barnes and Thornburg, mainly at Barnes and Thornburg, on an environmental issue. Great firm, but this doesn't happen for.
No, the environmental side is no. I at least want, personally for me, I'm not speaking for everybody, I at least want to see a snippet of a financial benefit, because we have none of that information at this point. So if we look at it and say this doesn't even make sense, there's no reason to continue down the path. I want to have that information before we start spending money and time on the environmental stuff.
So it doesn't have to be on the agenda for February, we're just trying to push it on the agenda.
I'm just trying to get that initial legwork. It doesn't have to be, no.
We
Yeah,
are
it-
required by statute to have it on our agenda by 90 days.
Yeah, we
90
have
days,
90
correct.
days to make a decision.
Yeah. To make
Now,
this-
if the council would rather wait, then I would suggest that we try to bring all these things to be considered at the February 2nd meeting, and then we could start the initial conversation with them at the meeting 2 weeks after that, if the concern is not doing anything prior to having the reimbursement agreement in place.
And that's fine. Personally, that's fine by me. I've said to all of you all along, we're going to work at our pace, not theirs. So I'm good with that.
Is 2 weeks enough time for them to get the initial questions that we want out?
Well, that 2 week, that would be us asking them the questions at the February 3rd meeting.
Yeah, I mean, with what I just proposed, we would approve contracts at February 3rd, and then the next day, they would be under contract. So we could have everything to them and tell them no work until after these contracts are approved, and then hopefully they hit the ground running and they know they've got 2 weeks to be in a position to respond.
I'm fine with that. I don't want to spend any money.
I'm good with that.
We're on the hook for it.
I'm
Right.
good with that, too.
Everybody?
good.
Emily?
If nobody wants to ask questions over the next couple of weeks is basically what we're saying to these folks, right? I just want to make sure, like, that's what we're deciding.
Well, we can still ask, I never had an
When you say
intent-
these folks, you're
Who are you
talking Barnes
talking
and
about?
Thornburg?
Yeah, Barnes and Thornburg and Baker Tilly.
Oh, okay,
Like, we can't direct questions at them.
Not if they're going to charge for them, no.
right.
I just want to make sure that that's what we're agreeing to.
Essentially, yes, that's what we're agreeing to, just to mitigate our risk on the expenditures.
I mean, if you want financials, Barnes and, or Baker Tilly is probably pretty reasonable.
Just Baker Tilly.
But that's
yeah.
what's in front of us.
No,
No, this-
Barnes and Baker are in front of us.
Correct.
You take Barnes out of the equation, we can still look at the financials.
I'm just asking for clarity. I don't have it, I'm willing to do whatever the group wants to do. I just wanted to make sure we were all under the same understanding of what we have, what we have access to and what we don't over the next couple of weeks. I'm fine with whatever the group wants to do.
Emma, good.
I'm good.
Have a
All right,
consensus.
then that's the plan. And then, obviously, I would suggest we make it clear to people that we don't plan to have a discussion or a presentation about this at our next meeting.
Well, are we still going to, I would still like to have opportunity to ask IPA questions if they're going to be
Okay.
here. I mean, it doesn't have to be, I'm talking generally, because I come up with a list of my own questions I have for them that I would like answers to.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to be clear and make sure I knew what was, and the public knows what the
Is
schedule
that
was.
okay with you guys?
Yeah, I
We
want to
still-
ask questions. I have some questions on that.
Good?
Yep.
Okay, we have a plan. No. Do you have anything else under legal?
The one other thing I had was the conflict waiver from Dinsmore that I
Oh, yeah,
provided
yeah.
to everybody. If that's acceptable, then you can approve it, and Joe can sign that.
I'll make a motion.
Hold on, I want to explain this to the audience, what we're doing. So essentially what he's talking about, this is a waiver of conflict. We had previously hired Dinsmore for some legal counsel on some other topics. And essentially they have a different person than who we use for that, but it's a different representative within their firm that is doing work for another client, and it doesn't really affect us. They just want a release from us saying we don't see a conflict in them doing that type of work. That's what it is.
This has nothing to do with the best.
Nothing at all.
This is a separate project.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't spoken to him in probably a year, so, but I just wanted you all to understand what we're talking about here. Everybody good with it?
I am.
And you said we do not need to make a formal vote to approve this? Or
Yeah, I would vote to approve it.
Go ahead and
have
vote.
you
Okay, go ahead and
sign.
make your motion.
So I'll make a motion to have President Cox sign the Dinsmore conflict waiver for the purchase of property.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good to go. All right, are you all good, Mr. Colt?
Yes.
All right.
So are we tabling that engagement letter?
Yeah,
So we're going to table that
it's going to be, put it on the agenda for next meeting.
at the next,
No, we didn't table it.
okay.
He's moving forward with it to
Yeah,
have it
so-
ready for vote on February 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you just meant we weren't voting on it tonight. We're
Yeah,
not
but there's,
voting on it tonight.
there's not a need for an official table, because it's
Okay.
something I brought up
Okay.
in my report.
Okay, gotcha. So we'll just,
We've given him direction to move forward.
Yeah.
okay. Add to the 2-3 agenda?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, good on that topic?
I am.
All right, moving along, Cicero Jackson Township Plan Commission report, Mr. Zalatsky.
Good evening, council. I have just, oh, dang it, I lost my screen. I have a couple of updates to what I reported at the first month's meeting. The new planning system that we bought this year is up and running. We've begun to process permit applications through the system. The payment system, Municipay, is functioning. I was shown deposit slips today, so petitioners can go online, do the whole permit thing, and then pay online. So that part is working as it should. A couple of bugs have become evident, but we're working them out as they become visible. So far, it seems that it will more than meet our expectations. So there's a learning curve here, so we are adjusting, so that is big news, and we're happy about that. There is a petition in front of the BZA this month, which will meet on January 2nd at Town Hall, not here, 7 p.m. There is one item on the agenda, and we will meet.
I believe you meant the 22nd.
22nd, you said the second.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
22nd, yeah, that's what I meant.
Meetings in arrears.
Yeah. January 22nd at Town Hall, 7 p.m., not here. One other thing, after discussion with our town attorney today, I was advised to make a public announcement regarding our public notification policy regarding petitions in front of the BZA and Plan Commission due to an uptick in activity regarding internet scams. We've been redacting personal information only from petitions to the BZA and Plan Commission. This does not alter any other content of the petitions at all, other than the personal info has been removed. What the scammers have been doing is they've been getting on our website, finding these petitions, taking all the personal information, and then creating false invoices. They look great too, and then they send them a bill. Fortunately, all of our petitioners have called me directly to ask what was this new bill about, and which I told them, don't pay that. But there was a case down in the county where they were doing the same thing, $4,500 invoice that was fraudulent, and they actually paid it. So we started doing this about a month and a half ago, but we just want to be very upfront and let everybody know what's going on. So that's in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. These details will be available upon specific request. So if you come in and meet with me, I'll be more than happy to give you that information. That's my report. Any questions?
I actually do have a question about the process. Being that it's BZA, are we even allowed to ask for that information? I know we can't talk to the BZA about open items at all, but
So,
There's a packet, so no.
is there?
yeah, I think you're getting two things messed up there, or mixed up there. So the BZA members, as a quasi-judicial branch, they are not allowed to discuss petitions with anybody else. So if you ask them, they should just tell you, I can't talk about it anyway.
Right.
Now, I'm not talking about their personal information, I'm talking about the petitioner personal information. All of that stuff is submitted, it's got name, address, phone numbers, emails, all kinds of stuff. So we don't want the scammers to get on the website, get that information, and then have access to send them these boss.
That's where I just sent you the information
Correct.
this week.
The nature of my question was just said we could ask you if we ever need any of that information, but I'm not seeing where there would be a situation where we'd need the petitioner's information for a BZA item anyway.
Well,
Yeah, he was
you may
saying
not,
about it.
but the public has a right to that information, so
I got you. Okay.
I
that's
want to
fair.
make sure that they know that I will provide the information, but the stuff I'm sending out into the internet for all the world to see will have personal information redacted.
Understood.
Yeah, while you can't contact a BZA member directly, anyone can contact our planning director to
Okay.
get copies of documents.
Okay.
All set?
All set?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
While we're right here, before I move on to town engineer report, where's Mr. Strong?
He's over
Oh,
there.
sorry. I'm all out of whack in this building. Do you have anything? Special projects?
Not this evening,
All
I
right.
have something when we move forward with that, but nothing at this point.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Moving along, town engineering report. Mr. Bryant is not here. Should I just read his summary?
Actually, he did submit pay application 18 for Reynolds Construction. I don't know if you guys want to approve it
Yeah,
or
we
wait for
will.
him.
We will.
Okay,
You want me to just quickly hit on the other stuff?
sure.
Okay, so this is the town engineer report. I'm speaking on behalf of Mr. Keith Bryant. Update on water, nothing new to report. Wastewater treatment plant, Reynolds continues construction, concrete pours and demolition for the existing oxidation ditch and sludge dewatering area. Clarifier rehabilitation, pipe work, electrical work, and other tasks continue. The anticipated schedule for bringing the ditch and clarifiers online is now late March, weather dependent. The sludge dewatering press and new sludge pumps are to be energized next week. Pay application 18 was reviewed and emailed with recommendations for approval and payment on January 16th. We ask that the council consider and approve for payment if acceptable. Item number 3,
Can I just stop right there for a second? So that total for pay application is $1,036,914.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to pay application 18.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Go ahead and get them paid. All right. Moving on to item 3, West Jackson Street project. Midwest Paving subcontractor has recently installed the remaining ADA parking signs, pipe bollards, and replaced the lights and the globes. We will look to schedule a substantial completion inspection in efforts to finalize this project. Any questions on that? Not that I can answer them, but
Mr. Strong, has anybody talked to him about striping like out in front of Jimmy's? And are they going to paint curbs where there's no parking yellow? Or is that us?
Not sure on that, I'd have to look at the plans to verify that, but I know they're going to work on the striping in front of the Jimmy's in those areas. I don't know if Mr. Cooper, we probably will have to do the yellow and turning, I believe.
Normally on these projects, we would yellow curve.
Okay.
So
Okay. I may suggest, and I know you travel there all the time and pay attention, but may take a walk down, you guys take a walk down through there and look at the markings. I think there's one in front of maybe, was it in front of, I just drove by this today, and on the west side of the section, there was, so like if you were out trying to turn right, there was another gap that I think in the past has been a parking space. Just with that in mind, you guys might take a walk and just see if there's another stripe that needs to, or two that needs to be put in. On down, this toward us more. Just, you might walk that area and just make sure that we think that there's enough parking lines. Because it seems like there was another one similar to the Jimmy's, at least one more.
We'll do a walkthrough on that, and also all of us will have to do a walkthrough, put a punch list together, and then there's some items we'll all take a look at. Some of the sidewalk efforts and some of those things as well. We'll take a look at that.
And then the only other thing is maybe we go to the Legion and get one of their flagpoles. And this is going to be painful, but go through every one of those and see if it leans in. I don't know if they fixed that or not. Do you remember? They
we can do that, but we went through there back
Okay, it might be worth just to take a flagpole and check. I know it's not going to be fun, but
All right. Where did I stop? 2025 CCMG project. The project construction is complete. We are finalizing closeout paperwork for the grant. The project will have a final deduct. Number 5, 2026 CCMG East Jackson Street project. The project is out to bid with bids to be received at the February 3rd Town Council meeting. We currently have 7 potential bidders holding bid documents. Number 6, Morse Landing Drive Drainage Project. As Mr. Freeman alluded, the Stormwater Utility Board will accept bids for the project on Monday, January 6th at 10 a.m. We currently have 15 potential bidders holding bid package documents.
26th.
Huh?
You said 6?
Oh, man, Frank, you rubbed off on me. January 26th at 10 a.m. We currently have 15 potential bidders holding bid documents. All right. And that would be it. Anybody have any questions? All right, moving along. Old business. Salary ordinance amendment 01-20-2026-01. If I'm not mistaken, that's, where's Chris? Is that PRM pay? Yeah. Which is what we discussed at the last meeting, so we're just looking for approval tonight, right?
I have an ordinance for you to sign, that's all it is.
Oh, yeah, it was the
Same
meeting
thing.
before last. Okay. So you're just looking for approval on this?
I am.
Okay. We've all seen this. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Nope.
Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Emily Pearson.
Second, Dennis Johnson.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good to go there. Moving along, grant writers contract. So we are looking at ways to find more grants and become eligible for more grants. So we have secured a commitment from a person who does grant writing as their profession. So, Mr. Hunter, do you have any comments on this?
We did, talk to last couple of days, we did reduce
6 months down from a year? Okay. All right. Mr. Culp, have you had an opportunity to review?
Yes, it's identical to her prior one, except for the term going from 12 months to 6.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Oh,
If we wanted to extend it 6 months, did she say it just carries over or didn't talk about it? Okay,
Still comfortable?
yeah.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the grant writing contract with the revision in the contract term from 1 year down to 6 months.
So moved, Dennis Johnson.
Second, Emily Pearson.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good to go there. Moving along to the IT contract, just to refresh everybody what this is. Former Chief Overholser of our fire department, you've all seen the cameras in Town Hall and the setup that we have over here. When Lance served as our fire chief, he also served as a pseudo IT manager for the town as well. That's completely his setup. He has agreed to basically contract with us to handle any issues that may come up with that system in particular. He will have nothing to do with town-wide IT. It's strictly to this particular system, and his rates are very reasonable, and he will break it down to the hour level. So, any questions on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the IT contract for Town Hall and Red Bridge when necessary with former Chief Overholser.
So moved. Emily Pearson.
Second, Dennis Johnson.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good to go there. The final item under old business is EMS rates. Questions, concerns on EMS rates? This is what was proposed 2 meetings ago. Eric, you have anything on that? No questions on those. I'll entertain a motion to approve the new EMS rates. And what the EMS rates are, essentially, if we go on an ambulance run, it's what gets charged, either insurance or the individual, depending on their circumstance. So, and it does have provisions in it for payment plans, for financial assistance or financial hardship as well. This is where somebody makes a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the new EMS rates.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good to go there. All right, moving along to new business, which we have nothing. On to miscellaneous, which we have nothing. It's not on my agenda.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so we don't need to do anything with that?
No, it wasn't on your agenda.
Yeah, it's not on
there.
mine. Okay. All right, I have one blue slip.
Hang on, miscellaneous. So Terry would like to have an hour and a half long meeting right now. It's scheduled for February 3rd before. Concern about being able to be done in time of that. Would you guys be willing to have a Saturday morning meeting on either the 31st or the 7th?
I'm fine with either, but I think this was all, I thought we had this worked out. There
Well,
was no-
he's February 3rd, and he would like an hour and a half. So-
Okay.
And that just doesn't seem to be the best position for this meeting.
Yeah, you're probably right. Okay.
I'm fine with
I'm
Saturday
fine with
morning.
Saturday morning.
I'm good with
whatever.
either one.
Do you have a
Whatever
preference,
works
sir?
for everyone.
31st at 6 a.m.?
I'm not sure we'll have quorum.
What time do you guys want on the 31st?
What this is for the retreat, this is where the department heads put together their budget and their goals for the year and basically come and present that to the council. We do it every year. So it's what the budget's based on.
What time?
9.
You good with 9?
January 31st at 9?
Good with
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
I can do 9.
All right.
At Town Hall.
At Town Hall, correct?
Gotcha. I'll advertise.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, all good under miscellaneous?
Yep.
All right, moving along, I have one blue slip. Does anybody else intend to talk tonight? Comments by citizens? Where's your blue slip, Mr. Freeman? You've been here how long?
I just thought about it, if you were making an ideal presentation, I'd come up with a fantastic one. I will,
Yeah, we'll let that question, because it's you, we'll let it happen.
it would probably just run.
Hold on, Mr. Green.
5 minutes.
It's too late to fill out a
Oh,
blue slip.
yeah,
No,
you get it. Oh.
Bruce is one thing.
I see how it is.
All right, anyway, Mr. Malley, if you'd like to step up to the podium, state your name and address. Thanks, sir. What's the topic? The topic?
I don't know what he wants to talk.
Oh, you filled it out for him. That's a different story, all right.
Bad thing, I can't get into that.
Fair enough. Sorry, floor is yours.
I'm Andre Maui. I live at 22410 Gifford Avenue, but you can redact that too if it helps me with less spam or junk mail or anything like that. Don't worry, I'm not going to read all this. I pulled together some quick thoughts after supper tonight. I know we can't talk about BES, and I'm not here to talk about BES. I understand that. There will be some references because that's the setup for my observations having to do with the approach, if you will, procedural.
Well, do understand what you're allowed to do and what we're allowed to do are two different things.
Understood, and I know you'll keep me in check if I cross my line, which is different than yours,
Right.
so.
No, actually, you have more leeway in this one.
Yep, yep. And when I say process or procedures for what you're doing, I don't mean the stuff that Mr. Culp would keep you in line on. I'm not the expert on all that. I'm thinking more in terms of how you think through things and the approach based on some of the things that I observed, I guess it was just last week and even earlier today. I read the announcement that the town council will be engaging consultants with expertise in the field, yada, 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 having to do with the continuation of that petition. And at face value, first thought was, cool, that really makes a lot of sense. But actually, for me, it was a little bit perplexing. And the reason it's perplexing is because you already have an advisory group, which is your plan commission.
For zoning.
For zoning, right. So, yeah, they're not advising you on environmental and financial and all the things you just mentioned. And actually, my thoughts actually are in even more context based on what I heard earlier. That was very helpful. So my concern with that is that the plan commission has their role as defined, state statutes and the town's probably some, I don't know if it's statutes or whatever there, plus the town council's wishes of kind of The sausage making gets done a lot of times over at Plan Commission. And in this particular case, if it comes back, and then now there's a bunch of due diligence, like you say, experts and things, great firms, Baker Tilly, Barnes, Thorberg, whatever, it kind of feels like this belongs back over at Plan Commission. I don't know, again, statutory, how that goes, but if we don't follow what that normal process is, the town governance isn't the place to be so flexible like a family vacation where you're like, feel what we get there and, you know, maybe we'll picnic or maybe we'll go rock climbing. It's kind of like everybody expects a process, and when we veer off of that, we get chaos. I can think of 2 instances in Westfield where we had an unbelievable amount of chaos because Plan Commission was one place and Town Council in the first instance, City Council in the second, after a few years had gone by, went a different direction. And it just throws all the petitioning in, much less the residents, into this what do we expect sort of thing. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, that it seems to me like by the time you have a recommendation from Plan Commission, if more work needs to be done, it feels like more work needs to be done there. I don't know what it takes to do that. If you guys would have to like shoot it down and then the petitioner can go back there and give the opportunity for the Plan Commission, I don't know what that looks like. I just, again, I'm a little concerned if I see a recommendation already given, whether it's favorable or unfavorable, and then a reconsideration here. It feels kind of like relitigating, that's not the right word, but rehashing something that you already have a process for. So that was one thing that I wanted to mention.
So what, I do want to stop there, and I'll let Aaron please jump in here. I just want to, we're actually veering it back to the process. So anytime that it goes through Plan Commission, regardless, it does end up at our table. So this is a unique one in the fact that the pace it worked at, so essentially, we saw the presentation Wednesday night at Plan Commission meeting. That was my first go-around. 2 days before that, I saw the site plan, so we didn't even have an opportunity to develop our questions that we have.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we serve a different function than the Plan Commission. We review projects as a whole, and to be quite frank, being that it's my signature on anything that goes out, I'm not going to make a decision until I feel comfortable that I have the information and the questions answered that I have personally. So that's just my feeling. I'm not speaking for everybody. Aaron, do you want to add anything?
No, I would agree with what Joe said. Each board has the ability to delve into the project, and each board comes at it differently. This board is going to look at some things that the Plan Commission probably didn't consider, because, like, for example, the Planning Commission doesn't get into any economic analysis like that. And so this board's in a better position to do that. The other thing is, 2 years ago, or I think it was 2 years or last year, they changed the law. It used to be if it was approved or whatever form it came from the Plan Commission, if it got changed here, it had to go back to the Plan Commission. That's no longer the case. So now the Plan Commission sees it once, it renders one opinion, and then the board is able to act. And so, especially with a project that, this isn't like a residential subdivision where they've looked at dozens of these. Well, I shouldn't say dozens, that's an exaggeration. But they've looked at these over the years. This is something none of us have ever waded through. And I think the council just wants to make sure it has the best information possible before it makes a decision.
And I can tell you that there are other governing bodies in the areas that are currently looking at their zoning. I mean, 3 years ago, this type of thing didn't even exist, so nobody's zoning standards are really up to date to include this kind of information. So I feel it's important to work through the process to identify where we might have deficiencies in that zoning so that we can change those standards or make adjustments as we need to, so when another project comes forward, we've already got our bases covered there. So it is a learning process.
Sure.
So that's where my head's at.
Everything that both of you have said makes a tremendous amount of sense, but the question that it raises in my mind, not a question, I guess maybe observation it raises in my mind, what's unique here is at the town council level, you have the ability to go hire those experts. Understandably, you're trying to get the letters in place, it'll be reimbursed and everything else like that, so it's not out of pocket here. I don't know whether the Plan Commission can do that. I've never heard of that. Maybe they can, maybe they can't, but you're going to get information.
The Plan Commission could have chosen to do that.
They can actually do that.
I actually had anticipated they were probably going to table it and do some of that, but the members felt they were ready to make a decision that night.
Okay, good to know, good to know. So that was the first point that I was bringing up, is just the clarity of the rhythm of the process and trying to make sure that we keep things aligned where we don't have a divergence between Plan Commission and the Town Council. And while I understand it's not legally binding that they agree, the fallout is not great if they don't.
Sure, and to
There's
your
that.
point, one of the things, from, I guess I'll say my standpoint is we try to keep the process static and the same for transparency purposes, use the same process for every evaluation. And this one, this got pushed a lot faster than I anticipated. As Mr. Kolb said, I also anticipated that it would be tabled and we would have time to do some due diligence. That didn't happen, and then it was requested to be on the agenda for tonight, which we shut down, so that's where we stand now.
Yep, understood. A couple of these comments, a lot of it's about Plan Commission, and I don't know if these belong there. I will share them with you, and if you share them out, obviously there's some joint
We
membership
appoint the
there.
members to share your
Membership,
comments.
whatever, so, yeah. It feels to me like on some of the petitions, maybe a lot of petitions, it's almost like there's a default no. And I look at a lot of things, I guess, in life that way. I mentioned what I said earlier about a family vacation, going picnic or rock climbing. To me, if my wife and I are trying to decide if we're on a picnic or rock climb and there's a disagreement, it better be the picnic, because one's kind of extreme or one's kind of common, right? And other things are like that too. The comp plan, if our comp plan was really hard to figure out the themes of it, if it was all over the place, if we had a tremendous, if we were a much bigger area and we were going to have skyscrapers in one place and goats someplace else, then it's really complicated. But there's a lot of themes, recurring themes in our comp plan. And if they said, build, 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 we want the ivory towers and bring in the concrete and the glass, it's like there'd be a default yes, unless you find a compelling reason to vote against something. But the themes that I read in there are all concerns about development and wanting, again, I didn't print all that out, but small town charm, I guess, for Cicero and rural lifestyle for Jackson Township. And you've heard it a whole bunch of times from me and a lot of other people standing out here. I don't need to repeat all that. Those themes, to me, seem to kind of set up a default no, unless there's a compelling reason in favor. Now, that kind of leads into the next thought, which is, I really wish we could flip the narrative. Instead of the petitioners coming in, which they're going to do, that's, again, I mentioned the other day, it's their job, and then a bunch of us show up here, pitchfork mob, we tell you what we don't want and everything like that. I kind of wish we could just wait and hear, for any of you who might be in favor of it, what your reason would be. Maybe it's financial, like the information that you're going to try to gather that we don't have yet. We don't really know what those points are that you're thinking, because you do all that after the public hearing, inherently, kind of the way this rolls. So we all come up and say all the things that we think you might be not aware of or not thinking of, and you may already have all those things decided in your mind. We didn't even need to cover that stuff. And it's just, it'd be great if we could flip that around somehow, hear more of your discussion when you send it over to Plan Commission, hear more of Plan Commission before we all come to the microphone, take a lot of your time, keep you up until way later than I stayed that night.
Sure.
I watched the end of the meeting online. I would just kind of like to see that flipped around. And again, if we can wait to see, hey, why do our Plan Commission members or why do our Town Council members think it's a good idea, we might agree with that.
Sure.
Or we may still not, but.
And the intent of that discussion in the third, where we ask our questions to IPA and we discuss it as a group, is for that purpose. So that's what we're trying to do. I'm not going to ask any of my questions, reach out to them in the meantime. I want those questions to be asked in a public setting, and they're either going to spur more questions or they're going to spur my opinion of their answer, essentially.
Well, I would also note, like with the Plan Commission, I think most members come in wanting to hear the presentation and ask. Sometimes they have questions. Sometimes they want to then hear whatever the public comment is, and they don't know exactly how they're going to weigh things. Now, we've tried to have members explain why they voted at the end. This is what I think is important. We'd intended to do that last week, but because it got so late, I don't think anyone thought about it. But that's a normal part that we've tried to do the last couple of years, is these are the things I think are important, this is why I feel that this should or shouldn't be approved, that type of thing. But I think it's hard to say that beforehand, because a lot of times the board members come to the planning commission, because that's when they first are hearing what's in
Open-minded.
the
and-
project.
yeah, Yep. Yeah, and my experience too is that sometimes, just from the packet that you all get, you kind of already know. You already know it's a yes, you already know it's a no, or sometimes, as you say, it's, I'm going to listen to the whole sales pitch too and wait and hear and either make up my mind in the moment or maybe I'll have more time or whatever. I don't know what procedures can be tweaked on this. I just look at it as the more we can hear what you're thinking. It's almost like, I don't want to add into the whole process and make it longer, but it's like, you need to hear what we're thinking. I say we, ubiquitous, non-member audience, whatever. You need to hear what we're thinking. We need to hear what you're thinking, so that we can then rebut that, or not rebut it necessarily, comment on it. It's just, it's really kind of a challenge right now, because I think some of you probably didn't need to hear a bunch of the, whatever it was, 2 hours worth, because you were already there. And anyway, that was my reflection kind of on the process and where we are, and that idea of the town already has what we've said we want. So unless there's a reason to change it, meaning approve something, that's, I think, what the public wants to hear.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, and we, currently as it stands, we don't have the information you just talked about for us to be able to do that. That's what we're trying to get.
on this one, yeah.
Right, on this one,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is.
This is weird.
There's a lot of unique aspects to this.
Yep.
Even the progression of the meeting the other night got a little wonky. I think everybody
Mm-hmm.
caught that. So we're trying to slow it down a little.
Yep, yep.
Can I make
Anyway.
a couple comments?
Yeah, sure.
I appreciate you coming forward and having a very respectful dialogue with us. It's very valuable. Just two observations. One, I think to say the comp plan represents what we want, but then you also have the existing zoning, right? And so those two things are not necessarily the same thing. So I think that's important to, just recognize. The other thing I was going to say is, you talked about how, like, sometimes the plan commission may, like, have different perspectives than a council, and that could be here, Westfield, or whatever, right? And I think you're right in that often there should be, you hope that there's some alignment there, but I would also just observe that I think having some healthy tension between different groups is also, like, productive in business and government and everything else too, right? Like, that's why when you think about healthy tension between the House and the Senate, or like judicial, or, you know what I mean? Like, just that, having those different components push and pull on each other a little bit, I view as not inherently bad.
Yeah, I look at healthy tension in my work as well, and that's a great example, the House and Senate, as parallel bodies when that does give to steal even more from the federal government. That's the check and balance
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit there too, even though it's intra-branch instead of inter-branch maybe, making up some civics words here. The difference to me is one's not a sub-body of the other that's really set up to make that sausage. If it was a subcommittee that comes back to the House, I hope they follow what that body was that did all the research and everything else. I get what you're saying, healthy tensions can be very good. I don't see the town council and the plan commission as peer bodies, more as a subcommission. I don't know if it's written that way or not. Maybe that's just my perspective. So.
No,
Anyway.
we do operate as the executive branch, so, but we do absolutely take their advisement, to heart, I guess is the best way to put it. But now, I will say in my experience, and I'm not talking about experience actually sitting here, I'm talking about experience sitting there as well. From the proposals I've seen go through, a lot of times when it does make it to council, there are additions to the plan development. There are certain restrictions the council itself requests to be put into that, so they do need their time with the project as well. So,
Yep.
but,
Thank you for your time. I
hey,
appreciate it.
always appreciate the conversation, honestly.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we at? Second, Mr. Freeman, you are next.
I'll give my time over to the lady.
Feel free to step up.
I don't know if I want to say thank you or not.
I'm going to be after you. I'll do it.
Oh, thanks, that's really nice of you.
So, just state your name and your address, please.
But I don't want to state my name and my address, because then I'm going to be like, I don't know, have spam mail? No, I'm
You just say
joking.
redact it and you're good to go.
Okay, Kim Irvin, 20801 Cumberland Road. I know you guys can't really talk much about this, but I wanted to come back and say a few things, because I'm, again, a concerned citizen, but I went home and actually, like, rewatched, I don't know why, the whole entire thing, and a couple things that I just wanted to bring to attention, and I know that I've talked to a few people about it already and brought it to attention, but one of the things that, I can't even say their name, APA, okay, thank you, APA, did come back. There was a question about the pond that was there, and they had said in the statement that they had talked to the Hamilton County Drainage Board, and that pond was supposed to be done by a certain amount, according to them. I, as a concerned citizen, called the Hamilton County Drainage Board, and they had no clue that this was even existing. And I guess Brad Newman sent out some emails to the council after I had called him, because he was like, what? So that was kind of concern number one. Concern number two for me was that they had stated that they reached out to Marathon. So I called Marathon, the people who have the pipelines that go through there. And I talked to a wonderful man over there. Don't want to throw him under the bus, but if you want his name, I'll tell you his name later.
Just so you know, we do have a member of the council that's doing the same thing.
Right, but it was very interesting to me that he told me that they had only applied for a substation, that Marathon was not aware of anything else going in on that property. So I just kind of wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, question some of the things. I hope you guys do some research on this, because those two things I was kind of thrown back by with that. And just remember that the state of Indiana doesn't have actually any rules on a battery storage facility. There's a whole book out there that says that. And it goes back to the town council, which is you guys who make the rules. And you guys all sitting here have the power to make these rules with this company, if this is what you choose or not. And just remember that you guys have all been elected to represent this community.
Absolutely. So that's number one. So, but no, everything you said, absolutely agree with. So, anybody else?
Well, and I would say, after our conversation last week, we already had an initial conversation with the contact at Marathon, and so that process is moving forward.
We've gone one step further, and Mr. Zawadzki reached out to CenterPoint Energy as well regarding the gas line. So. Ponce, we got somebody else? Oh, Bruce, you still have to go. I'm sorry.
My only question was the Oberdorf site, as well as ours, are similar
But different.
but different. I just wanted the questions that the Noblesville asked. Would they help you formulate your question and answer sheet? Would you have access to the questions that board asked?
Well, the video and everything's online.
Okay, I didn't know.
But the key thing, because that was a land use variance when it went before the county BZA, they were focused on hardship the whole meeting, because they didn't think they had a hardship. And that's ultimately what, all five agreed there was no hardship.
Of current
And a
zone.
couple of them, a couple had a few other. And so a lot of their questions were drilling down on, for example, the way the county's ordinance is, to have a hardship, you can't put the land to a use permitted under current zoning. Well, it's zoned ag, and there are crops growing on it. And that was, a lot of the BZA members said, well, where's your hardship? You're farming it today. And so they were looking at it from a different vantage point, if that makes sense.
Completely
Give
different.
some insight to what their questions and answers would help you.
They revolve around their 5 criteria.
Yeah.
We look at the project as a whole.
So they went to the BZA, they didn't go to the planning.
That is correct.
Yeah.
2 different.
2 completely different processes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Ponce? How you feeling, my man?
Much better. Recovering, coming along.
I like it.
Thank you for asking. My name is Ponce Herrera, 652 Cora Court, Cicero, Indiana. This park is my backyard. I moved here about 15 years ago from the Chicagoland area. And if you're familiar with Chicago Bears, then you should be familiar with BP Amoco, U.S. Steel, Inland Steel, and probably every industrial location along Lake Michigan and through the canals including shipping, Coast Guard, and probably every response emergency agency you can think of in the Chicagoland area that encompasses the industrial zone, and quite frankly, that particular area built this country beginning back in the early 1900s because of U.S. Steel and other manufacturing. So when it comes to hazardous smoke, fires, shootings, traffic accidents of tankers, explosive rigs that were carrying Department of Energy, every military you can think of, I have a little experience on that. I don't live there anymore. The air is fresher down here. But when it comes to police and fire training, that should be the utmost, as we've heard in public comments, that we all have plenty of opinions and a whole lot of assumptions. Well, let me be the first one to say that, number one, I have full confidence not only on this board, but the zoning board, the police and fire, the guys that pick up my garbage, the street department, overall the town community, as far as any kind of official capacity that you serve, not only your own homes and your own families, but mine as a taxpayer. So I have the utmost respect and full confidence that you ladies and gentlemen would do your jobs in the best interest of our community. So I want that to be number one point taken from my comments today. The opinions that everybody has and the assumptions that are the fear-mongering of whatever development happens in this town, I've heard from the previous meetings that we've had here. I've heard one gentleman that lives in Jackson Township that if the zoning board and the town council allowed a subdivision go next to his property, it's going to infringe on his Second Amendment rights. I've heard every opinion you can think of, and quite frankly, it's a bunch of horse shit. We all have opinions. We can put lipstick on a pig, as I heard the other day. It's still a pig. You can fearmonger about explosions and so forth. I can tell you, as a veteran of the United States Air Force, I had a secret clearance and provided top-side security and manned launch control facilities that in the middle of a farm field was a nuclear warhead. Imagine if somebody took what was it the other night?
Bazooka.
A rocket launcher against that? What would happen? Well, I protected our national security when it came to nuclear warheads. I competed for the Air Force, and I just thought I was a badass. But the bigger picture was we were competing for nuclear war. So all those exercises and all those competitions that I had when I was in the Air Force, and we went to Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, was exercises and competitions to provide the best, utmost security for our country, just in case we went to nuclear war. So when I hear this, and I respect everybody's opinion, but when it's thrown in with fear-mongering, it's just that. People applaud if you're no for something, but you don't applaud our brand-new fire chief when he gave you facts. That is totally uncalled for. So if you want real facts and real data, and if you respect the process and respect the people making decisions for our community, then be open to all information, not just your own opinion and 5-page statements of what you don't want. But the last time I checked, our services are not free. We pay taxes, and we all know the tax structure now in reference to properties as of late. I'm all for paying for services, and I'm all for paying for improving our schools and everything else. Whatever we need as a community, we should be able to pay for those services. but I don't expect everybody to be driving around in BMWs either for a service truck in a community. So budget-wise, I trust you guys. In reference to any development here, I trust you guys. But to assume and to fearmonger and to target our council members and who voted for and who's in favor of it. I seen a video today on social media of a waste, some kind of garbage truck hauling electrical hazard items, and it was on fire, and it was here on Cicero Chatter, saying, this is what we're going to get here. That's the kind of stuff that is uncalled for. And I can guarantee you, and I don't know where everybody lives at that's in attendance tonight, but I live right behind here. I'm sure if the fire chief came to my house, he would find my house hazardous. There's gasoline not in gasoline cans that are not in metal containers. And I got plenty of guns and plenty of bullets. And I got oil and I got chemical cleaning, everything you can think of. Everything electrical in our homes has some kind of batteries. So when the fire chief, when he was asked questions in reference to responding to fires, he basically said, responding to any fire, you would have to maintain it. And it's hazardous. The home in my cul-de-sac, a big home, caught on fire a couple of years ago. And there was plenty of smoke, and there was plenty of firefighters on scene. You couldn't even get into that cul-de-sac. But they maintained it. Nobody else's house got on fire. So I have plenty of confidence in our firefighters and our police officers and all first responders here. And I appreciate the work that you guys do. And some of it's going to be hard, and some of it's going to be not so hard. But you got my back.
Very much appreciate that, Ponce. Thank you very much. We know you do. Hey, listen, my response to that is, you know, nobody sitting up at this table is a professional politician. None of us have career aspirations to move anywhere beyond Cicero. We walk down the same streets you do. Our kids go to the same schools you do. The decisions we make, we have to show our face around town. We're not going to make a decision if, you know, we live here. We're not going to make a decision that's going to affect what we feel is negative for the community as a whole moving forward. It's a very, very difficult job. It's taken 3 years for me to accept the fact that I can't make everybody happy no matter what I do. You know, I can sit up here, talk, be as transparent as possible. You're not going to change everybody's mind. Confirmation bias exists. Everybody has their reasons, you know, and everybody looks out for number one first. In our position, we're tasked with removing the emotion and being objective to projects. And it's a very difficult thing to do when you live in the community that you're doing that for. And, you know, sitting up here is hard. You got a lot of eyes on you and a lot of eyes that are on you that are not happy with you, even before you've had a chance to make a decision, you know. So it's always very nice to hear that. Thank you very much. We absolutely respect what the community says and the community input, and it weighs number one. But do understand that we still have a job to do to vet proposals. And just like we don't listen to their experts and we vet their information, it's the same that we do with what citizens say. You know, we take it to heart and we go out and we vet it ourselves so we know that we have the correct information. But I guess bottom line being, and I'll shut up, is we are working for the right reasons. We really are trying to make the right decisions for you guys, and we're trying to do it in the right process, in the right manner. So to hear that you do have confidence in us, from anybody, it does feel really good, and we're going to continue doing a good job for you to the best of our ability. So.
John, to this point, is what you've mentioned, I think the economics of all of this is important. Will there be an opportunity for the community, as you guys do your study, for the community to get that information?
I fully, yeah.
So that we understand, as you're making decisions, I went and looked at the Duke Energy plant on Riverwood complex, and it's 110 acres, 115 acres. And they're paying $92,000 a year in property taxes, which would be the equivalent of 23 houses here at an average of $4,000 a year.
Sure.
So I was trying to understand, I'd love to understand more about the economics of property taxes alone
Well, it's
It's
not,
a lot.
it's not always about the property taxes. So there's, I mean, if you look through it, I think, what are they called? EDAs? Economic development agreements, where essentially, Aaron, can you explain this? I'm going to fumble it.
Sometimes, because of the unique nature of a project, it doesn't always make sense to, instead of going through and having them taxed, what a community will actually do is enter into a development agreement with them whereby they agree to pay a set amount of money to the community each year. And that would be spelled out, and a duration would be spelled out, you know, because you're talking about a lot of moving parts. You're talking about the real estate, you're talking about personal property and anything else there. And so some communities handle them that way. And, you know, as this moves forward, I think you're going to hear at public meetings, that's part of what we're talking about, some of these experts, how much money would there actually be, what would the impact be? Because everyone needs to know that as they weigh the pros and cons of the project.
And just so you know, part of my due diligence process, I'm trying to find one of these facilities that's even comparable in the reasonable area. I have no problem driving 5 hours to see it. Part of what I'm struggling with is the aesthetic that they proposed, because it's so far off, you know, set back in that picture, it's not a real representation. It's a challenge in Indiana, because the only one that really exists is an AES facility down in Pike County that I've found, and it's double the size, and it's actually on an old coal factory site. So I don't think it's a good representation. I'm going to reach out to their commissioner. I truly just want to see the unions, and I'm just going to ask the commissioner if it's visible from the road, and I'll just drive down there in the course of my workday so I can see what it looks like from the road. Now, I will say, and this would require some approval, there are 4 of them in Hawaii. There's 2 in Oahu and 2 on Hawaii Island. So if you guys really want me to do the due diligence, right? So those are the same size too, so it's comparable.
Well, and I've got the addresses, there's only, they used 35 comps in the appraisal that they did. Only 3 of the 35 are of the magnitude of this one.
Sure.
They're 4 gigawatt, they're 8, they're 20, they're 16, but this one's being 200. There were only 3 that were actually built, that they actually used. I've got the addresses of them. I'll get those to you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I don't know what they were, but it would give you an idea of something this size is really big, by
Yeah.
comparison to a lot of what they built.
I mean, there's a lot of battery storage around here that people don't even recognize is already here, but it's like it's small, you know, it's contained, it's inside a building, you know, so.
Around the bridge and wire.
Correct. So it's, what are we going to get to see there, you know? So, but I have found trying to find one of these facilities is not easy.
I'll send you the addresses that are part of it. They were in the report that they provided Hamilton County when they were trying to put on all of them.
Gotcha.
So we've got the whole turnout.
All right, I super appreciate it. So, thank you. Anybody have anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved, Dennis
Second,
Johnson.
Emily Pearson.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you guys all for your input tonight. Very much appreciated.